Alright guys, welcome back. You know what today is. It's Monday mention time. This is a topic kind of near and dear to our hearts.
Very.
Slash, it also gave us a lot of anxiety. So first, we're gonna go on a bike ride and grab a beer, and then we will share everything that we know about
buying a vintage Airstream.
We're at the Growler's Garage. We were gonna do our Monday mention here and talk about buying a vintage Airstream, but sadly we're enjoying some Jimmy Buffett. Oh, hold up. Anyway, so for those of you that don't know, this is our series called Monday Mention, where we talk about everything and anything that we just want to discuss with you guys.
Literally anything.
Yeah, literally anything, and just share information and knowledge that we've learned along our travels. So this one is about buying our 1977 Airstream Argosy and renovating it into our full-time tiny house.
I will say, just a little like preface to the whole conversation, we were extremely picky with our Airstream, and it paid off 120 times over. So here are the points that we really looked for.
Cheers, guys. So, point number one, make sure that the structure is good to go and there are no dents in the outside. A couple of rock chips are normal, obviously, but you can always pull those out if you want. The next part is checking the underbelly of the Airstream. So making sure that there's not a lot of rust damage underneath on the underbelly pan, or even making sure that there's no rust damage on the axles. An indicator for that we used was looking at the hubcaps on the Airstream, just to make sure that it looked good to go and that obviously the Airstream would move and roll home with us. Leading into the final part when you're looking at the structure is the levelers. So when you're trying to dock up at a spot and level your Airstream out, the levelers are obviously the most important part when leveling. Once again though, if they are, it's like $200 to replace them. We did it ourselves. It's not that hard. If you step inside and you feel like you're gonna fall through the floor, it's probably not okay to buy.
Okay guys, so after the structure, the next super important thing to be looking for when you're buying a vintage Airstream is the electrical and the plumbing. One thing I was super adamant about whenever we were looking for an Airstream was making sure that the electrical works. A, we aren't electricians, so we can't do it ourselves, and B, it's super expensive to hire somebody to come and replace an entire, excuse me, as I'm So one thing we looked for sure was to make sure that the electrical worked, and something that we learned along the way was you can plug into a normal plug with your plug on your Airstream with an adapter. So buy an adapter when you're looking for an Airstream. It's only like $12 or $15, and you can plug that in and have them plug it into an outlet in their house. It'll run your 12-volt system. So buy that adapter, bring it with you when you're looking at Airstreams, and that'll really tell you if like your electrical works, if at least the base system of your electricity works. Have them test it for you. It's super important. It's a huge expense saved, and don't let that be a question mark whenever you're looking at Airstreams. Part two of number two is the plumbing. So plumbing is another thing that A, we are not plumbers, and B, another super expensive thing to have an entire redone plumbing system in your Airstream. So look at it. It's pretty easy to tell if the plumbing looks like it's in good shape or if it looks like it's falling apart. You can even test water, pour some water down the sink, pour some water down the toilet, make sure it flows out properly. Just make sure there's a good system in place. If you have to fix one or two little things here and there, that's fine, but make sure you're not having to replace entire systems of anything. Unless you're going into this full gut mode, that's one thing. We did not want to have to do an entire gut on an Airstream, so if that's you too, then do not go into it questioning the plumbing or the electric. Make sure those things work. It'll save you so much time and money on your renovation.
Alright, so the next point on our agenda of buying a vintage Airstream is checking the inside structure. So obviously we said the exterior structure. Now we're talking about the interior structure. Making sure that the appliances work is another huge thing. Making sure that the floor on the inside doesn't look too bad. I'm a huge believer that you check every single thing that you look at before you buy it. So I made the guy literally pick up the bed with me and move the bed out of the way so I could check the floor and make sure there was no water damage. So don't be afraid to ask, or even don't be afraid to just say, look, I don't want to buy this until I see everything and make sure that this is what I want, because this is your home, or this is what you're going to be living in for a time being.
Then we got a little distracted meeting some fellow Argosy owners.
Yeah, guys, we met some fellow Argosy owners. We'll show you real quick. Check it out. They're awesome. All right, guys, so like we've said all along, we haven't met anybody that owns an Argosy, and for the first time ever, we saw him driving in, and I was like pointing at him. kind of randomly. I apologize up front. But anyways, guys, check this out. An Argosy family. I love it. Oh yeah, it's so cool. They have a dog.
Tucker over here.
Their outside setup's way better than ours. There's another one. Long story short, Argosys are the best.
But now we're gonna move on to point 4 and 5, which we think are so important when you're buying a vintage Airstream. These may be more important than points 1 through 3, just because like they're just so important for you personally. At least we have felt they were. So point 4, feeling the feeling, which sounds cheesy.
I like that.
But feeling that feeling, like we looked at probably 20 Airstreams.
Yeah. At least.
At least.
So in person, we probably looked at close to 10 Airstreams, but online we looked at thousands, I'm not gonna lie to you.
A lot.
A ton.
And so,
a lot of countless nights when we got home, scanning the internet. We used Craigslist. We also used Search Tempest. If you haven't heard of that one, it's pretty much just like a huge Craigslist on steroids. It was a huge help.
So that's how we were looking for them, but when we were walking through all 10 of them, I think I could probably cross off at least 8 of them immediately upon walking in them. There were like probably 3 that were like doable for sure. Like they checked boxes 1 through 3, but just didn't feel right. Like, you know, you're just like, I just don't know. This just doesn't feel like the one. It's like picking a significant other, you know, when you know, you know. And so
number 5, patience is a virtue. My grandfather taught me this. He taught me patience and perseverance is just key. And honestly, it really was key in this whole situation.
For sure.
We waited so long to find the right Airstream for us. Over a year it took, and I'm not gonna lie to you, it was a pain. We quit at it, stopped looking for like a month, and then we were like, all right, hang on. This is what we want. So we went back to the drawing board and found this. Don't rush into this process. If you're looking to buy an Airstream or an RV or anything, honestly, don't rush into it. Make sure it's the right one for you. True. And don't just buy it because you want to buy it.
We had a vision long before we were even looking at Airstream.
We literally drew it up on a piece of paper, guys. I'm not kidding with you.
Yeah, we had a vision long before, and so if you have a vision, let the vision play out. Give it the time to play out how it's supposed to, and you'll find the right one, and it'll all pay off.
So we hope that you enjoyed this series of Monday Mentions on how to buy a vintage Airstream. Obviously our experience is a little different, I'm sure, than everybody else's, but these are just the takeaways that we found most important when we were looking at buying Rocky. One thing that I just have to say is that the people that we bought this Airstream from were phenomenal people. They took such good care of it, and we were really lucky and fortunate to find the one that we did. So just to answer everybody's question that's been asked so much, we bought Rocky for $3,000. Stay tuned for Thursday, 6 p.m. Central for our newest travel vlog. It's gonna be awesome. And then we'll see you guys on Sunday for our live stream.
Yeah, bye guys.